Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Hoosier Center podcast. I'm your co host, Turner Moore, joined by your host, Carter Kimmel. This week, we are going to be discussing the football season, Coach Sig, who he is, what he represents, and how we feel IU is going to do as a season this year. So, to start off, who is Coach Sig? There's a lot of noise around this new coach. What are we going to do as a team? Are we going to finally be a real power in the Big Ten? I think that's really hard to say. But if you're going to say anything about Coach Sig, it's that he wins. Carter, I don't know if you have anything to add there, but about winning, but I'm sure you do.
So I saw when he he came to IU. We signed him on November 30th. Um, and I didn't really know what to think. Mid-major coach. Didn't really. I'm like, oh, he's probably gonna be okay. I didn't know what to expect. And then he got to Bloomington quick. He missed their bowl game. Like he missed his
Yeah.
JMU's bowl game because he was ready to rock. I mean, he was ready to come to IU. So he probably got a interview, commencement speech, whatever, in like less than 48 hours of being coach at IU. And I'm like, I might as well watch, see what he says. And wow, he had some things to say. Probably one of the most confident speeches I've ever watched. If you've seen Coach Sig talk or just a random interview, super confident in what he strongly believes in himself and how he can coach this team to win. And like he said in the intro, he knows how to win. He has an amazing winning record
Yep.
uh, by coaching multiple teams, and especially at JMU. He just won him a conference championship.
Yep. His record all time is 119 and 35, which is about a 77% win record. Um, he has won the Sun Belt Conference twice in a row with JMU, and he's won Coach of the Year two times as well. Now, everyone, I'm sure there's some skeptics. What is this Sun Belt Conference? Are there any real teams in there? And there are some real teams. App State, which has been a giant killer for many, many years, has dominated the Sun Belt Conference.
Yeah,
App
totally.
State, this is a team that has beaten Notre Dame before. It has beaten Clemson. It has beaten big teams on big stages routinely and dominated these teams and been to many bowl games. Yet JMU flipped the conference on its head after Sig came into JMU and has just destroyed App State. In fact, Sig all time is a 2-0 record against App State, beating them by an average of 32 points. So, this is a real great winning coach to bring to IU.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, as far as, the season goes, I mean, we have the schedule now. We've, digested it, we've looked at it, we've got our thoughts, we've got our roster. Going into week 1, play Florida International University. I have this on my notes as a guaranteed should be win. FIU has been to a bowl game in recent years, and they have big wins. Like they beat Miami 30-24. Miami, like University of Miami, the one in Florida, not Miami, Ohio. They beat them 30-24 in 2019. But we should win this game. It's at home. I can't see us losing it, particularly, barring some major injury. But
Yeah,
I don't know. You give me your thoughts on that.
yeah. FIU, last time we played them was 2016, 17, actually. We played there. Um, don't remember the score, um, but we won. And when I did see we won, I'm like, oh, FIU, who the heck's that? Not a big school, obviously, but as he said, guaranteed win on his notes. I agree. Um, I think because this is Coach Sig's debut, and I just don't see a loss in a Coach Sig from what we've seen him say and do and what he's accomplished, I don't see a loss in a debut from Coach Sig. Um, and I just don't. I think it is a guaranteed win, 1-0 to start the year.
Yep. And moving into week two, I have another likely win. I mean, this should be a 90% chance win this, maybe even higher against Western Illinois. Um, Western Illinois has a storied past, 13 conference titles. They've famously beat University of Illinois 44 nothing, but in recent years they've been a struggling team. People have talked about moving them down to D2 even. So again, another win for the Hoosiers at home. I can't see it going any other way. Starting 2-0, I think that's pretty strong.
Yeah, 2-0, definitely.
Week three, at UCLA, at the Rose Bowl. I have this down as a loss. Um, they did have some losses last season. They lost to Pitt. They lost to Oregon State, but they had some really big wins too, beating Arizona, beating Utah, Arizona State, and Cal. Um, I think this is a pretty great UCLA team in a tough place to play. Um,
Especially.
I've had some conversations with some players on the team, um, and they thought that this would be their favorite game of the season, the game that they're most looking forward to. You know, playing at the Rose Bowl, pretty magical place, a lot of history in multiple sports. But UCLA is a great team with a great past. I have this as a loss for the Hoosiers.
Um, I think for me, this is a toss up. I really don't know. Uh, I haven't, I'll be honest, I haven't really looked at UCLA's portal season, how they've done with that. I think they did well. I'm pretty sure. Maybe I heard that, maybe I didn't. But again, it's always going to be rough playing at the Rose Bowl. It's never going to be easy playing at the Rose Bowl. And I don't even remember the last time IU played at the Rose Bowl um, for a regular season game. I think the last time we played there was what, 70s or 80s, maybe?
Yeah, I think it could be
Uh,
even.
Maybe even the 70s, maybe.
Yeah, I mean it's been a long time. 1968, the Hoosiers earned a trip to the 54th annual Rose Bowl game, playing against UNC, who was
UNC.
led by running back O.J. Simpson at the time. So,
Oh,
you know,
nice.
talk about a team back in the day.
Uh-huh.
I do have a correction. Um, UCLA lost to Arizona, Utah, ASU, and Cal, but they did beat USC, Colorado, and Washington State. Major wins
Major
for
wins.
the Bruins. Beating those quality teams of USC and Colorado. I mean, Caleb Williams, best quarterback in college football last year. Lost to UCLA. And that was a high powered offense from UCLA, from what I remember. So, um, as you said, it's one of those games. If Sig has some master class and we win, I mean, I would feel very, very good about the rest of the season.
Oh,
But
yeah.
going into it right now, not knowing anything, I have it as a loss, and I think that's the safe bet. But there's always that chance, new coach, new entry, new players. You never know.
Yeah. It hurts me to say, but yeah, I think we'll be 2-1 after this week. Um, but I wouldn't be surprised if this game was a back and forth close game. Um, Obviously that just depends on how UCLA did in portal and all that stuff that I haven't looked at. But I think IU will come and compete. I think they'll compete very well with UCLA because anybody's going to go to the Rose Bowl and compete hard, well, and play with heart. So I don't know if IU will win, but I think they will definitely give UCLA is their money worth. I think they'll give them a hard battle and something to earn. So
One thing I just checked as well. This is UCLA's first game in the Big Ten. They play Hawaii week 1. This is their second game of the season. Um, this could be a major wake up call for UCLA. You never know. UCLA might be used to getting off to a softer start to the season in the Pac-12, playing some weaker defenses and really letting their offense get in rhythm. So something that the Big Ten has always had is strong defense. So I think there's a real chance. Maybe this is a wake up call to UCLA. Welcome to the Big Ten. Here's one of the worst teams in the Big Ten, but hey, the defense wakes up here. So big game for the defense, I think, actually. If you were going to pay attention to anything, this is a big game for the defense.
it is.
Okay, moving on to week 4. Back at home, Charlotte. Um, Charlotte football. I was doing some research because I don't know a lot about them. They really don't have much in their past. They have a notable win against Duke in 2019. I actually think of the teams we play, this is by far the easiest team we play. Um, I hope this for me. I hope this is a great rebound game coming off maybe a UCLA loss or a tough matchup, and we, rest, recover, and just dominate. Um, to me, this is a great scheduling move, which is something that we haven't said a lot about Indiana football in a
No.
long time. Is that we actually start the season off, in kind of an ease in way, which I think is a brilliant move by Sig or whoever's doing the scheduling. I know coaches have a large, call on some of that stuff. So I think us playing some weaker teams to start is a great call by Sig and the athletic directors. Um, this is another guaranteed win here. So I don't know if you have any other thoughts, but I'll hand it over to you.
Uh, if we do come off, I think either win or loss at UCLA, I think this game will be good for us.
Yep.
Obviously, you said they're one of the weakest teams we play. But so if, say we lose to UCLA, and they're gonna come home expecting a pretty decent crowd, um, and they're gonna be mad. They're gonna be mad. They're gonna take it on Charlotte hard. They're gonna smack the crap out of them. They're gonna
Right.
want revenge for what they lost last week. But if they win, uh, again, like I said, they're gonna come home to a huge crowd. 3
Absolutely.
and 0, 3-0 on the season. Just got their first Big Ten win of the year at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
Um, uh, three. I mean, yeah, 3-0. I mean that's all we can ask, and most likely 4-0 after obliterating Charlotte.
Right.
Um, so I think either win or loss, I think we'll be in good hands. With either a 3-1
Yeah.
record or a 4-0 record. I think it'll be
Um,
good either way.
moving on to Maryland, week 5. I have this as a toss up.
Yep.
I'm paid a ton of attention to Maryland, but they destroyed us last year. They had our number. They crushed us. But, in the past, Maryland's been a weaker team. They've lacked notable wins in the Big Ten. They've struggled in the Big Ten. But I think this is a really defining moment for Sig. Prove to the fans and to those who watch college football that Indiana's here to play. That we are here at this point, 4-1, hopefully, and we come in and just this is our game, 4-1. This needs to be a win for the Hoosiers. This needs to be, let's pick up some momentum, let's get the midseason going, and let's get wins on the board against Big Ten opponents.
Yeah. Uh, Again, Maryland's been a toss up for a couple years, more than that probably.
Yep.
Um, Maryland's either really, really good or not good at all, in my
Yep.
opinion. Last year they knocked our socks off. They beat us 44-7. Uh, I think, like he said, with the 4-1, I mean this game's going to be very, very important, very, very important. And if we do win, like he said again, uh, people's going to be like, oh man, Cignetti's kind of changing the culture at Indiana. They're 4-1. They have two Big Ten wins on the season already, and we're not even halfway through the year yet.
Right. I mean,
Um,
4-1 is if we've lost to UCLA, but if we're 5-0, I mean
I don't
that's
know.
a big.
Yeah,
I mean that's a statement start, I would
very.
say.
Um, and obviously we're all hoping for that. But even if a loss at UCLA and a good win at home against Maryland, I mean, 4-1, I'll take it any day.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I toss up for me again. Uh,
Yeah.
they lost Talia.
Yeah. Tuga Viola.
Oh yeah,
To his younger brother, they've lost. Um, I think they've got no real. I think they've got a freshman quarterback coming in looking to start. At this point, Maryland, it's they're getting into the season. We'll know um where they're at, but I can't see them. They play some easier teams off the start, but I mean they also play Michigan State on the 7th. I think that'll be a really good almost dress rehearsal for IU to look at and say, hey, Michigan State's kind of a team that really is similar to where we're at right now. Hopefully, I would love to be in that position as where Michigan State is by the end of the season. So if we can look at that game on September 7th, let's mark our calendars and let's see, how Michigan State does against Maryland. And if they blow them out, I've got this as a win. If it's a closer game, it's going to be a close game for us too. Um, Moving on, you know, 4-1 most likely could be 5-0. You never know, but probably 4-1 at this point. Could be 3-2. We play Northwestern at Northwestern. Now, this isn't really at Northwestern. Northwestern um, has moved their stadium for this year. They're playing in the Chicago Red Star Stadium. If for those of you who aren't familiar, that is the NWSL National Women's Soccer League Stadium this year. So, uh, there are a lot of IU alumni in Chicago. I would love them to show out to this. If we're 4-1 or 5-0, I would love the IU alumni to show out in Chicago and be there at Northwestern. Um, yeah, I mean we should beat them. They had some good wins last year, but I have this as a win slash toss up, but I'm thinking this is more of not a 50-50. This is a 60-40 IU, but it could be a 70-30 Northwestern depending on where we are in our season. If we've lost to, you know, if we've lost to UCLA and Maryland at this point, and we're 3-2, it gets a little bit more 50-50. If we've lost to one of those three bad teams, it's even more weighted towards Northwestern. But I have this as a win. I don't know about you, Carter. What are we thinking here?
Northwestern had a pretty solid season last year. Made a bowl. They beat Utah, I
Mm-hmm.
think. Yeah,
Yep.
they beat Utah in their bowl. Obviously Utah, they didn't have their starting quarterback. Utah was pretty. I mean, they're a pretty decent team. I think that what they went 9-3 or 8-4. Utah.
Utah last year,
Yeah,
8-5 last year
8-5. So they did. Yeah.
with
Well,
the
yeah.
loss to Northwestern. So before that, they were 9-4 or 8-4, I should say.
So pretty. I mean, decent season for Utah with not having their starting quarterback.
Yep.
But still a good season for Northwestern because Northwestern has been like us in the
Mhm.
past. Terrible football, bad
Yep.
football,
Yep.
everywhere, anywhere. Um,
Mhm.
but again, I don't know if they lost a lot. I don't know if they gained a lot. I don't know. I think they still have their quarterback. Um, but I looked at the arena. The arena is super tiny.
Oh,
Like
it's so small. I mean, it's a women's soccer stadium. It is.
it look. I think my high school arena is bigger than it.
I
But
I think there's a chance. Like there are recreational. I'm from DC. For those of you who don't know, I think there are recreational football fields in DC that seat more than this stadium. Literally. So I I
that's
I I
wild.
I think if the IU alumni in Chicago show out, it's the other thing is it's not close to campus. Like this is a hike for Northwestern students to get to. Um, if they're not like if they've lost some games already, like they play Washington earlier in the season, Northwestern does. Um, they also play Miami of Ohio to open up the season, and that's not an easy game actually for those of you who are unaware. Miami of Ohio is not a terrible team this year. Um, I mean, if they've lost some games already and their students are out of it, and the IU alumni show up in Chicago and make a difference, I think this could be a very much like a home game for the Hoosiers, and we just win on the road and keep rolling. Um, so it's a toss up, but it just depends on where we are and where they are. I think that's context is very important here. I don't know if you have anything more to add on Northwestern.
Yeah, I agree. I think Indiana with the fan base that we have and them Chicago and Hoosiers, they're like, oh, if we're a 4-1 team or 5-0 team, they're like, man, let's go watch the Hoosiers play. They're actually good. They're actually a pretty decent team. Let's go show out. Um, I went to a Vanderbilt. Well, I was in Nashville last October, and I went to a Vanderbilt versus Georgia game because Georgia was in town. They're number one team in the country. Tickets were not that bad for some reason because it's Vanderbilt, obviously. But
Yeah, yeah.
um, I got in there and I was wearing my IU merch, so I didn't really care.
Mhm. Yep.
And I stood out a little bit, but I literally saw my side was a sea of red and black. See, and Georgia, Georgia's not too far. What, 6-7 hours from Georgia,
Yeah,
or
I mean
that?
that's a drive though. I mean Bloomington is a hell of a lot closer to Chicago than
Yeah,
Georgia is to Nashville.
yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And it was unbelievable how many Georgia fans were there. And Georgia fans, they're really good travelers. And obviously Vanderbilt Stadium was getting worked on sides, so it was still crazy to see how many Georgia fans were there, though. But that
Yeah.
just reminds me of just how what we could do. Like Indiana basketball fans are heck of travelers. I mean, they're so good
Yeah.
travelers. And I think Cignetti can make a type of culture that, yeah, let's go to the game in Chicago. I would love to see that. And I think if we show out enough, I think we can get the win at Northwestern.
Absolutely. Next week, it's another toss up. So at this point in the season, we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We could be 5-1. We also could be 3-3, but we're hoping we're 5-1. I think that to me, I would be so happy if we're 5-1 going into week 7. We play Nebraska at home. If we're rolling, this is a win we should get. It's at home. You know, let's hope people show up. It's Nebraska. This is a storied football team. This is a real football team.
Mm-hmm.
I would love for the fans to show up and the students to stay the whole game. Um, if the students stay the whole game against Nebraska, I mean, let's just mark our calendars right now. Indiana plays Nebraska on, I
But
believe, it's going
October
to be
19th,
October 12th.
wait,
Um, but you can correct me if I'm wrong.
it's 19th.
October 19th.
There's
October
a,
19th.
I forgot to say, or both say, there's a bye week between it's October 12th.
Yeah,
Uh,
October 12th is the bye.
so, uh, that's what I'm putting on my schedule right now.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So I mean, we're coming off a rest week. Hopefully, we're coming off a win at Northwestern. We have a full week to prepare for this Saturday game against Nebraska. one of the most storied teams in the history of college football. I think the fans will show up. I gotta hope the fans will show up. If they do, it's a win. But for right now, I'm gonna call this a 50-50.
Is that fall break?
Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm calling it a 50-50, but um, if if we're rolling, I'm calling this a win. But for right now, I'm calling this a 50-50. And then we move into the next week. We move into what I think could be the toughest stretch of football a team can play. Um, we play Washington at home. Now, if we're rolling and we've won against Nebraska, we've won at Northwestern, we've beaten Maryland, and maybe even if we've just kept it close against UCLA, it could be a close game, and you never know. But also, I have this as a complete loss. I mean, you know, we can be optimistic about Cignetti. We can be optimistic about the Hoosier fan base, but we cannot be unrealistic and say we're right now. I'm confident that we would beat Washington. I cannot say that in good faith.
I agree. Again, Washington just went to the national championship
Yep.
with Michael Penix, IU legend,
Yep.
but he's gone. Aroma Dunze's
Yes.
gone. A bunch
Yep.
of their line's gone. But again, I
Coach is
think,
gone.
yeah, coach is gone. He went to
Coach is
what, Bama?
gone. That's big.
Bama. Head coach
He's
of
in
Bama.
Bama. Yeah.
Um, wasn't their coach the OC at IU when Tom out like during that COVID year? I'm pretty
Mm-hmm.
sure. Oh, that now that hurts. But
Yeah.
uh, I th- I just don't know. It depends on what the season looks like, obviously, and how Washington's doing. I haven't looked at Washington's schedule, um, but I think they're still going to be a solid team. I wouldn't be surprised if they were top 15, top 10, maybe. I don't know yet. Um,
Yeah, I've got him right now in my rankings about top 20, but I mean, I think they're still a solid team. It's
oh yeah,
hard to go to a national championship and be bad the next year. I mean, it's actually it's very possible to be bad the next year if you've got like all seniors. But and with the transfer portal, I guess things can change pretty quickly, but they're still going to be good.
they're still going to be good.
The next week at Michigan State. Now, Michigan State is a tough place to play.
Very.
Um, I've told this story before. I told it last week when we were talking with Freddie McSwain. But I was going to go to Michigan State, funnily enough. And I learned a lot about what their culture is around game days and, what they do. I ended up the right place. I ended up a Hoosier. But, you know, Michigan State's a tough place to play. They had a tough season last year.
Yeah.
But it's Michigan State. It's a rivalry game of sorts. They have always been good. They have great fans. They show up, they show out. To me, this is a 50-50, but I'm leaning more towards a loss. I just hope that we don't get down on ourselves too much because of a loss to Washington. I hope that Cignetti is able to motivate the guys. Maybe we come out hungry against Michigan State and we just crush them. So I've got it as a 50-50. I'm hoping Cignetti is the man. But 50-50 might be ambitious.
Yeah. I also have it a 50-50. Michigan State, mediocre program the last 2 or 3 years. Um, they beat us last year at home.
Yep.
Uh,
That was a tough game.
it was a tough game. It was very one of the. I actually I was watching some highlights just from college football. because I was watching some. I got like a thing that said college football 25 and just wanted to
Yeah,
make
yeah,
me college football highlights.
yeah.
But it was top 20 plays from the year,
Hmm.
and one of the plays was the IU Michigan State game, and one of the Michigan State receivers literally grabbed it with one hand, spin twice, kind of like hesitated twice, and then went for a touchdown. It was a nasty play on all. I mean, it was crazy, but
Yeah.
uh, I mean, we just got outplayed. I think that was senior day. Wasn't that senior day?
I want to say it was something like that. I think it was Thanksgiving break. I want to say like the start of Thanksgiving break. Like not a lot of students were there.
Oh, there was not many people there at
I,
all.
I didn't go to this game. I went.
I
I
was in I was I
watched
was
this
in New
film on the
York, so
couch,
I couldn't go.
and it was
Um,
it was sad.
it was, but I think again with a new team, with everything else, I think it could be a very much of a toss up, like a 60-40 Indiana, or just reverse 60-40 Michigan State.
Yeah,
So
it just depends on where we are. Um, just gonna look at something really quickly. I just want to see who they're playing the week before. But I think, as we said, matchup dependent. Um, very very tough. I mean they're coming off playing Michigan,
that's what
so
I thought. That's what I thought.
I mean it's both of us are coming off tough games. Now the next week we play Michigan, so
At home, yeah.
it is at home. It is at home for us, but I literally wrote 3 words or 4 words. I wrote no Harbaugh, no problem. Michigan is going to beat us. I mean, this smells of a loss. Um, if it's not a loss, Cignetti is the greatest coach ever. I mean, if we somehow manage to beat Michigan, Washington, or UCLA, if we beat two of them, two of those three, he's the greatest coach. I don't know how we will do, but I have this as a loss. I
Me
I
too.
I, I mean I can't be honest with myself. Now for Roland, if you talk to me week 7 and we say, okay, we're 6-1, I'm like, okay, maybe we have a 40% chance to win this game. Maybe. But if they've been close games, I'm not sure. You never know. It's the nature of college football, but it's also the Big Ten, so we could win this game. Um, any additional thoughts there? I mean, I think it's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah. We in the past, when we have a big opponent that comes in Indiana, we seem to play well, very well in the first half
Yeah,
against anybody. For example, 2 years ago, Michigan did came to IU. They're 10th in the country, and the score was 3-10 at halftime. We were down a touchdown,
yeah,
and Michigan looked terrible.
yeah.
Um, and then obviously they won like 31 to whatever, it doesn't matter. But and then Ohio State came last year to Indiana, and I don't think was it like 7-3 at halftime. No, I don't think it was that much. But we were in a
It was
pretty
like 14-7. I think
14.
we were like down a touchdown. Like I don't think it was that.
I don't remember what it was, but we weren't down much at all. I mean,
No, it could have been 17-7. I'm not sure. I mean, yeah. And even last year at Michigan, we
yeah,
held them
we
scoreless in the first
first.
quarter.
We literally scored first, and it was 7-0.
Yeah, I think we're the only team that held Michigan scoreless in the first quarter last year.
The whole yeah,
The only team.
that
And
makes
and
no.
then we proceeded to give up 56 straight points. But you know, I mean that's it's tough. I mean that's a.
That's
I think I was literally at a soccer game and someone told me we're up 7-0 after the first quarter. I was like, oh, let's go. And then I talked to them at the half, and they're like, yeah, we gave up 36 or something straight points. I'm like, what? You have 35 points? Um, so the next week at Ohio State, this is a loss. Unless Cignetti's a god. I mean, he would have to drug Taven up to be, I don't even know, like the next Michael Vick. I mean, this would have to be a win of great proportions if we were to win this game, or maybe Ohio State's really injured, but because it's the end of the season. But I don't know. This team of Ohio State has is incredible. Their defense is incredible. Um,
Yep. Lot. We're not. Yeah. We're not winning this game. They have the best defense in the country, and in my personal opinion, they will be the national champions. In my
yeah,
opinion,
yeah,
um, but that's okay. I mean, there's going to be games like this. I mean, you're going to have game. We're in the Big Ten. We're going to expect that every single year,
yeah.
unless we are the Ohio State. We're far from that. Um, but yeah, again, they have like a bunch of Bama, like Bama's center went there. A
Yep,
couple Bama's cornerbacks went there,
yep,
and a bunch of other good school corners. Their defense is crazy, and then they got a new quarterback, and
yeah.
I don't know where he's from. Um,
It doesn't matter where he's from, honestly. I
yeah,
mean,
yep,
I'll make this point right
right,
now. I mean, as long as you can get the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr., I mean, he's back. I mean, it's
forgot
like
he's back.
Tua in the NFL, right? On the Dolphins. If he can get the ball to Tyreek and Waddle, good things are going to happen. And I think it's a very similar proposition for this Ohio State team. If they get the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr., good things are going to happen. Um, Finally, we play Purdue at home. I hope this is a win. It's a rivalry game. Anything can happen. We should have won last year. Just give us the win. This to me, this is the Cignetti legacy game. Hopefully, this gets us into a bowl. This would be the game that would really, hopefully. I mean, from what I've got my math here, this would be the game that would push us into a bowl. And I would like us to stop being the member of the stat as the only Power Five school that hasn't been in a bowl this century.
Yep.
I would like that stat to stop being run. So let's beat Purdue, last game of the season, go out with a bang and make it into a bowl. So that's the
Me.
IU football season. I mean, I don't know. What do you have any thoughts on this Purdue game
Purdue sucks.
to do?
I know we have in the past too, but I mean, we literally had Purdue beat by like 18 points last year, and they came back and won the game.
Yeah,
And that Indiana team, I mean, they were obviously to start off rough, but to end the season, I don't think we did terrible. I mean, we ended the season not bad. Obviously, record didn't show that, but I mean, we beat Wisconsin, but
that was nice.
uh, that was sick. I don't think we beat Wisconsin for a very long time before that win. uh, but
It was
I
a really bad Wisconsin team, but I'll take it. A win's a win.
yeah, I
Um,
agree.
After that Akron game that we had won, but it didn't feel like a win, I was ready for that Wisconsin game.
Yeah, me too. Me too. We should beat Louisville too, but we
Yep.
can talk about that in another thing.
Yep.
But um, I think we have a better team than last year with
Mhm.
the improvements that we've seen and the players that we've got from JMU. And we got a Clemson wide receiver. We got a Wake Forest running back. I mean, we got some pretty good additions to IU. So I think we'll take out Purdue pretty easy.
We've got a great kicker. Shout out Derek McCormick as well. You know, he's come in,
Very good.
not much fanfare about him, but he's going to be a great piece for us, and I can't wait to see what he does this season.
Yeah, I agree. And for my math, I guess your math. You have IU going 6-6 from your math, or
Right
7.
now, I mean, okay, let's look at this. So, win versus FIU, win versus Western Illinois, win versus Charlotte. I'll have us take two wins out of Northwestern, Maryland, Nebraska, and Michigan State, or actually, I'll obviously take 3 wins out of those. So that puts us at 6. We'll lose 6 the other games. Um, whether those be to Michigan State, OSU, Washington, Michigan. I don't know if I said Michigan twice, but and then we play Purdue to get 7 wins to get into a bowl. That's my math right now. I, I'd say it's pretty safe math
Yeah,
um,
I agree.
at the moment. But I mean, I'd love to win one of those big games too. I hope we actually go into Purdue and it's a victory lap, and we're at 8 wins. That would be very nice. But I will take the 7 wins to get into a bowl, and hopefully we could do something at the bowl. And we have a bowl to go to. That would be a lot of fun. I would love to go to a bowl. You know.
Yeah, that would be sick. I tried to go to that Gator Bowl uh with the COVID team.
Mm,
But apparently they allowed so many people
hmm
because of COVID.
hmm
And I know a buddy of mine, he went and it was, I mean, obviously we lost Ole Miss.
Yeah.
But he said it was at Raymond James. I mean, that's where the Buccaneers play, so that's pretty cool. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
that'd be
Exactly. I
cool.
would. I would just like something like that. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
So this has been Hoosier Center, episode 4, season 2. Leave us a comment what your thoughts are, how you think IU football will do this year. Have we vastly overestimated this team, or are we right on the money? Let us know. Thank you.